Welcome to the show. My name is Charlton with Big C. This is Charlton and Big C Sports coming to you worldwide on the Big C Sports Network, on the #1 network in the United States of America. And Big C Sports has been voted the #1 sports show in the universe, according to Big C and them good old boys down south. I want to say bienvenidos to all of our listeners in Latin America, also across the pond, in London, England, as well as Paris, France. You know we love the Big C tribe in Africa, so we can't forget you there. We love you in Canada, but Big C, there's no one we love more than you good old boys down south, in the land of the free and the home of the brave, on a beautiful February 26, 2018. Big C, how's it going for you good old boys down south?
Well, Charlton, it's beautiful down here. At least I think it's beautiful. I'm doing the show in the dark. I'm doing the show on my birthday too. So everything is relaxed and we're just hanging out tonight.
Big C, did you not pay the light bill, or did your neighbors come home on to get there? They unplugged their extension cord, Big C. Which one is it, Big C?
Well, I got tired of people peeking in on me, so, you know, I was going to film the show down a little bit.
And Big C, did you tell me one time you came home from a trip and some good old boys were in your pool?
Yeah, you know, I'm gone for a couple days, and it's like it's hot, and it's in the sunshine. We come back home, and the neighbor's kids are over in the pool. Water's just as dirty. I don't think they hit bathes for a while. But, you know, I'm like, okay, you know, at least the parents should have some type of, you know, cordialness about them. So, hey, you know, you can't go get in the man's pool. But, I mean, they came in and took the tarp off the pool. It looked like it was uncovered. They took the tarp off. They made themselves comfortable. I pull up at the house. They didn't even try to leave. They like, all right.
Hey, you know security let them in, so they have to have a hookup with the security, Big C. You just might want to keep an eye on who you're paying to keep an eye on the place when you're out of town. I do want to say today is a beautiful day. We have a lot of things going on. The conclusion of the Olympics, and America fared well. Actually, it came in fourth in the medals. Great weekend for golf, and Tiger Woods had the ratings up 38%. A lot of good old boys, you know, shaking in the boots with the NCAA investigating that even white guys are starting to get in trouble now, Big C, for getting money. And also, what could you say about everything in the world of sports? We still love the fact that we have rain in California, Big C. It was thundering and lightning so loud, I said even the universe is listening to Big C Sports, Big C. You're nuts.
Well, Charlton, you know, the sun will shine on a crooked dog behind. He's right today. You know, so he gonna get a little rain here. So you got a little rain out there. You know, I mean, we get it down here in the South all the time.
Yeah.
And at times we've gotten too much, you know, in the past few days. In many southern states, and our hearts and prayers go out to those people in those devastated areas with that excessive amount of rain, Charlton, with the flooding and that's going on that has caused so much destruction in homes and some of the tornadoes that they've had.
Yeah, I think that was down in Kentucky, so hopefully everybody stays safe and we get some help from all the emergency crews that help with that. I do want to say today's segment is sponsored by your Northern California Cadillac dealers, home of the all-new Cadillac Escalade, the standard of the world. And when you go by and test drive yours, tell them Charlton and Big C sent you. You can drive a car or you can drive a Cadillac. Big C, in the world of this whole thing that's going on with basketball, I know you've told me this a long time ago, and I've seen some things myself where, you know, people are getting what they got to do to not starve. If you give a young kid, boy or girl, an ultimatum, come to our great university, get a great education, we're going to make sure that you can go far on this degree if you get it. However, somebody else shows up with an envelope, and they say, you don't really have to go to class, just show up for the game, Big C, right?
Well, you think about the hypocrisy that's called the NCAA.
Yeah.
Okay, double, triple standards what they possess.
Yeah.
And it's true. It's mainly among African-American athletes. If you look at the sports that are dominated by those in basketball and football, that there's a different standard that they have to adhere to than what everybody else does.
Yeah.
Now, there's a lot of great athletes that have been dual sport athletes in college, Charlton.
Yeah.
But you think about it. Only college basketball players and college football players cannot be drafted by a professional team and go to college.
Yeah. Yeah.
A baseball player can be drafted by a professional team and still attend college.
Yeah.
A hockey player can be drafted by a professional team if he wishes not to sign.
Yeah.
Still attend college.
Yeah.
We look at tennis players, Charlton, and majority of those are white Americans. They go to these elite academies when they're young and these training centers. And so they can, if they don't make it as a pro, they can go to college, but they've been attending pro training for years prior to getting to their college years.
Yeah.
So they have the option, if they're not good enough to turn pro, they can go to college and continue their training for free.
Yeah.
Yeah, and this is in many sports, Charlton, that African Americans don't participate in great numbers.
Yeah.
And so you have to look at the racial divide and how they're looked at.
Yeah.
You allow these kids, think about hockey players, Charlton, that's a 99% white sport in America. And so these kids can be drafted by the NHL at 15, 16 years of age, Charlton.
Yeah.
And if they choose not to go into the NHL or into the farm system, they can still go to college and get a free education. But they've been drafted and their right to own by 3 to 4 years by a team.
That's a good point.
And, you can't do that as a football or basketball player.
Yeah.
And so when we look at how that's treated, you think about baseball. They start drafting guys as juniors in high school.
Yeah.
And they continue to play. Russell Wilson was in a farm system, who's now with the Yankees.
Yep.
While he was in college, and he still continued to play. Many other players, Charlton, African-American and white, have been drafted.
Yep.
And they're getting these huge incomes, so they basically paying their own way through college as a professional, but not playing the sport that they were drafted in.
Yeah, and we got to find a way to fix it. And in fact, you've talked about it for so long. I feel like when I woke up, I was watching some of the news the last week. It's like Groundhog Day, because we've been doing the Real Talk for a long time now. A lot of people are coming in saying, because now you're hearing white head coaches being caught. We just had Patino and that thing that happened down in Louisville. I'm sure he's the only man in the history of the universe to do what he was doing, Big C. I think the thing that cost Patino is he was actually allegedly having an affair with his assistant's girlfriend or wife. I thought that was just something common that happens in the world of real life. People do what they want to do. But when it comes down to something that I thought was very shocking, but true, okay? Think back to when UCLA and Georgia Tech went to China to play basketball because they couldn't find a gym in the United States of America. So they had to go to China to find a court. They go to the gym and sometimes it's full. So they got to say, we got next. They had to go to China. They couldn't find enough gyms to play in the United States. I'm sure that was a free travel, right? But see, nobody earned money on those kids going over to China except for the Pac-12 conference. They have a contract with Alibaba, of all people. Well, Ball says, and now they're trying to say, well, it's not. I wasn't talking about me. He said everybody's getting paid. And people say, no, he shouldn't say that. Didn't UCLA take away the scholarship of his brother? Now he's dropping dime on UCLA. Big C, your thoughts?
Well, Charlton, this has been going on forever. I mean, if people ever want to think that this is a new deal, that college football players are getting money, it's now that you got coaches being caught on wiretap,
lying,
being involved in a payment. The Arizona coach. Years ago, Charlton, this involved the boosters. When I was in college and even before, the boosters handled the payments. But now that the game has gotten so big and the paychecks for coaches and universities have gotten so large, boosters are not going to pass that money through them. So you got to get a handler now to do that, because the booster doesn't want to get involved in some tax scheme. Somebody finding out. So, he tries to stay away from it for the most part. But, Charlton, this money thing, and people are trying to sit here and say, well, we didn't think that this was going on. We didn't know nothing about it. The NCAA has always been aware of these activities, Charlton. It's just that where they're sitting at right now, being March Madness, it's that old analogy that they don't know whether to sit or go blind. That's where they are right now.
I've heard that.
And so as they're sitting back, looking at the quandary that they're in with these billions of dollars on the table, potentially, that they may not be able to recoup, from the sponsors in this tournament that's coming up in a couple weeks. Because their elite programs are all the ones that people are talking about. There's 25 of the top 50 programs in the country, Charlton, that are on this ledger. And there's active players that are on this ledger that are being brought to the forefront, about receiving these, payments, benefits, whatever it is. And the NCAA is trying to say, well, we have a system that we need to address. They knew that nobody was wearing a dress when it happened.
They knew
all guys walking around in sweats. Okay,
yeah, that's true.
they know that, and
Yeah.
to sit around and say that we need to go back and revisit.
Yeah.
What they need to revisit is what we've been talking about, Charlton. You either have professional athletes that you're going to pay across the board, or you're just going to forget about this one and done. And if you want to go to college, go to college.
Yeah.
Now, NHL has a developmental league.
Yeah.
Okay? The
Yeah.
National Hockey League has a developmental league.
Yep.
As well as the NBA now has a developmental league. So let's just take college off the ledger. Let's let the teams put a player out in their developmental league. Let them draft them.
Yeah.
The NBA has 2 rounds of draft for the NBA teams.
Yep.
Okay, set up this supplemental draft where we're going to have 5 rounds of draft.
Yeah.
And we're going to own a player for 3 years, okay? 4 years, just like a college scholarship.
Yep.
You're going to own him, and you're going to pay him.
Yeah.
So let's cut out this thing that we say that we're naive about what's going on.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
we've lied long enough.
Yeah.
To say, okay, we're going to put them in these developmental farm systems.
Right.
And they're going to be paid. We're going to have a 3 to 4 year contract on these players.
Yeah.
If we don't feel that the player has gotten to where we want at any point within that, we can disperse him back into the draft pool
Yeah.
and allow somebody to pick him up in the draft pool or via free agency,
Yeah.
just like the rest of the leagues do. I mean, baseball does it all the time. That's how Russell Wilson just ended up with the Yankees from the Rangers.
Yeah.
And he was drafted by somebody else prior to the Rangers, Joe.
Yeah.
So, you're sitting here and you're forcing these kids to say, hey, you got to come to this university.
Yep.
May never attend class. All of a sudden, they do the one semester and they've gotten enough credits somehow to stay eligible for the basketball season.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, come NCAA tournament time, you find out he's ineligible.
Yep. Yep.
But the NCAA right now is so embarrassed with their stupidity of thinking that the world was dumb to their plight.
Yeah.
Is that they don't know how to sanction these situations, Charlton.
Yeah.
Because March Madness is coming up.
Yeah.
Their largest cash cow of the year. March Madness makes more than that football tournament that they have.
Yeah.
It does.
Yeah.
It obviously does. And when people sit back and look at it, the NCAA March Madness tournament makes more than the NCAA football tournament does.
Yeah.
So you think that they want to push all these teams out, Charlton?
Nope.
You're going to push out 25 teams that have been bracketed.
Yeah.
And so what does that do for your bracket? So you could let the tournament be played.
Yep.
You can come back later and say, well, we're going to sanction this school now. We're going to take away their victories, blah, blah. But we're going to make our money first.
Ain't that true?
That's what we're going to do. We're going to get paid.
And that's what they've been doing. I do have a solution, and I've heard a lot of people, and some people say, well, that's not a smart solution. My thought is, if you take the people who earn the money, which are the athletes, the student athletes, okay, and you give them all of the money that's generated through March Madness, give them all of it, and then give the president of the NCAA and all the school presidents, give them a hat and some new shoes. And I think that will even the playing field because people say that's a dumb thing. That'll never happen. It can happen. That's what they do to the players, Big C. Am I off the mark or did I hit a home run, Big C?
Well, as you say, Charlton, these people are not dumb.
Yeah.
They know they got dumb employers. They got free employers. Why should I pay what I'm getting for free?
Yeah, I've heard that.
That's the NCAA's perspective, even though the university's been paying forever.
Yeah.
You go back. How in the hell did Wilt Chamberlain end up in Kansas? Okay?
It's beautiful there.
Back in the 50s.
He's looking for the Wizard of Oz.
He's looking for the Kansas. Think about Texas Western. You get all these players from Chicago end up in El Paso, Texas.
Yeah.
They thought El Paso was a restaurant.
Yeah,
okay?
so did I. Oh, hold on. It's not? Are you breaking stories here, Big C? It's not a restaurant.
And they end up winning the NCAA title. The first 5 black starters to win the NCAA title.
Yeah.
So when you look at even Lou Alcindor, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, he's in New York.
Yeah.
Think about all the great universities that was on the East Coast during that time, Charlton.
Yeah.
That had great acclaim.
Yeah.
Basketball-wise.
Yeah.
He's 3,000 miles away in UCLA from New York.
Yeah.
And everybody wondered what was the mystique that Wooden had. We knew Wooden won national championship.
Yep.
But what was the mystique even beyond that? And even Elvin Hayes ending up in Houston.
Yeah.
Out of the Midwest. Going to Houston. Of all places. Houston, Texas.
Yeah.
you know, cowboy country. He probably never saw a live cow in his life prior to getting to college.
That's probably true, Big C.
So,
That's,
you know, so
that's
when we start looking back over time and say, okay, how did these great universities
Yeah.
get all these great players time and time again?
Yeah.
You know, why did they come to us? You know, even one of your boys from the West Coast, Troy Aikman.
Yeah.
Why did he go to Oklahoma? Norman, Oklahoma, of all places.
Yeah.
You leave Los Angeles
Yeah.
to go to Norman, Oklahoma.
Yeah.
You got 3 stoplights in the town.
It's a beautiful
And
town.
you go out there to a university where all they do is run the football.
Yeah. And you think about something too that happens at some point in time. They always say the buck stops here. You can only fool people so many times. I think one of the great George Bush said, "Fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, you're not gonna fool me again." That's how he said it. But you know, in all seriousness, not paying people is an antitrust violation. Imagine going into work, you put in a good day's work, you work for 2 weeks or whatever they pay you weekly or every 2 weeks, and they don't give you a paycheck. They give you a hat and some tennis shoes. And that's what the NCAA has been doing. They say, well, you get a free education. Well, let's divide a free education into, like, I think about $1 billion collectively. We know the right thing to do is to take the time to figure out a way. You've been stealing money for this many years, okay? You can find a way to put money into the pockets of some athletes. I always believe if you give a fool money, they'll be out of it. And in like a year, they'll spend it anyway. But you could give them some money and then put some of that money into an annuity. It's called factoring. When you put $1,000 into a bank, they can loan out $10,000. There's enough financial planners, Big C, that can do what Ed DeBartolo did with one of his injured players for the 49ers when he became paralyzed in one of his arms through football injury. He set up an annuity. The man will have money for the rest of his life. And I would love to see something like that happen. Half money, half annuity. So even as people learn how to have money, they'll have money kind of like O.J. Simpson. He can't run out of money for the rest of his life. And that's a good example to follow. They could just find the way O.J. Simpson had his plan put together. Big C, that would be the right direction. It's not like you can pay a college player $1 million like NFL or NBA players. But wouldn't you think half money, half annuity makes a lot of sense for short and long-term goals? Big C, your thoughts?
Well, Charles, if you look at how a lot of these coaches structure their contracts,
yeah,
and they get paid. You know, Miller, the coach at Arizona,
mm-hmm.
if they fire him for probable cause, okay? Think about this. You fire him for probable cause, paying players money.
Yeah.
So you can get fired.
Yeah.
They still owe him 85% of his contract.
Oh, really?
You know, that's a hell of an annuity. Finally, you know,
yeah.
What if, you know, that's the reason why he say, hey, I'll go sit home till you guys figure this out.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm guaranteed 85% of this $5 million that you owe me anyway.
Yeah.
So you guys figure out what you want to do.
Yep.
You want to pay me for coaching or you want to pay me for sitting at home?
Yep.
And this is of the contract. So if he has 3 years left on the contract,
yeah.
You know, they owe this man $13 million, $12 million.
Yeah.
So, you know, when you think about those are annuities.
Yeah.
This is the reason why you don't see coaches sweating. You know, Rick Pitino got fired at Louisville.
Yeah.
They still had to pay him $14 million when they fired him.
They got to pay him.
On top of the money that he had already earned from this.
Yeah.
It wasn't like he was ever going to be broke.
Yeah.
But you fire me and you still got to pay me $14 million for firing me.
Yeah.
The average American gets terminated. They get, I don't even know if they get a severance check anymore. I know they get that final paycheck.
Yeah.
But those severance checks don't exist.
No.
These coaches are shrewd enough
Yeah.
to negotiate their contract in full or 80% of it
Yeah.
when they get terminated.
Yeah.
You think about a professional athlete when they get cut,
Yeah.
and very few of them have a guaranteed contract.
Yep.
But you cut, and that last paycheck that you got is it.
Yep.
If you get cut after a game, that's your final paycheck.
You know,
So you
that's
don't have to. You can't be sitting there, well, a week down the road or next year they're going to be paying me still. No, your funds are cut off.
Yeah, that's a very good point you brought up. So, and I'm glad you brought it up. They've already known how to do this. For the most part, you know, Stan Van Gundy said something that's, I said, Big C on TV again? But I thought Van Gundy said, and some people disagree, but I think he's right on the money. I think it has so much to do about race, because there was a time that they did not even integrate the sport. And in order for you to go to college, for predominantly the black athlete, in order to go to college, you have to have some form of scholarship. A lot of times they will go through the inner cities, or they'll go to most neighborhoods where there's a high population of black Americans, and they will scout the best athletes, okay? They don't look for the best GPA. They look for the best athlete, and they'll find a way to get you over the hump to get you the minimum GPA to go so you can play for them and bring in money. And because since the invention or the introduction of the black American athlete to the United States sports scene, sports become a $1 billion industry. And anyone can Google that, the inception of it happened. Right around the 60s it started happening. And now there's so much money on the table. But the idea of some black players getting paid has really caused a lot of cynicism by mainstream media. And Stan Van Gundy mentioned that it's because of the black athlete that people have an issue with it, but a lot of white players can go on and play baseball. No one complains. That you brought it up earlier. You know, same thing with a lot of other sports where they want to become pro players. But I think if we do the right thing, Big C, we also know that NCAA they're breaking the law by not paying people for the labor and for their name rights so they sell merchandising. They got to address that issue also, okay? But part of what you're saying, an annuity and half money now, that's a long-term solution. Is a long-term goal, but Big C, what's the realism that we'll see this in the next year or two, Big C? Your thoughts?
Well, Charles, when you think about it, you talk about athletes being paid. Drew Henson, who played quarterback at Michigan in front of Tom Brady, was playing in the Yankee system during the offseason, playing professional baseball. Then he was starting for the University of Michigan on the football team. And even the father of the NFL, George Halas, played professional baseball.
Oh,
and
really?
when he was let go by the Yankees, he ended up starting the Chicago Bears 2 years later.
Wow.
And so, you know, when you look at it, it's far-reaching, but when you look at it, it's mainly a lighter complexion that allowed that dual opportunity.
Yeah.
When you think about it.
Yeah.
You know, I remember Jeremy Bloom, you know, who played at the University of Colorado, great punt returner.
Yeah.
You know, he was a professional athlete.
Yeah.
His sister, they did a movie on his sister, Molly's World, about this gambling ring she ran in New York.
Yep.
You know, Jeremy Bloom was a kick returner for the Philadelphia Eagles, and he's playing in the Olympics.
Yeah.
You know, he's a skier in the Olympics.
Yeah.
So he's slicing up, but he's a professional football player, but he's being praised as an amateur athlete.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, you know, when we look at this and we try to get that cross-sector, and that's what, you know, as Van Gundy said, this was a racial issue. He was right.
Yeah.
Because, like I said, with the professional baseball, which is predominantly white,
Yeah.
the NHL, which is predominantly white,
Yeah.
those players are allowed to be drafted at 16 years of age.
Yeah.
Given a contract, Charlton.
Yeah. Big
Put
C.
into a farm system.
Yeah.
Allowed to develop.
I got to ask you
Where
this. Go
you
ahead.
take a young African-American athlete, you don't have a developmental league for football other than college, and they got to do that for free.
Yeah.
A team can't draft them prior to going to college
Yep.
because that's wrong, because now this kid will be able to have some money and going out there competing.
Yeah.
And basketball's the same way.
That's a very good point. I want to ask you, because you're big on numbers, and I know you know how to Google, but what's the main complexion?
It's dark in here right now.
It's just-
Remember, I have no lights on, I don't have no clothes on. But that Google might be a little hard tonight.
It might be your neighbors that you made them get out of the pool. They unplugged their extension cord. They see now you got to worry about your power. I want to ask you though, when you look at the complexion of an oligarchy, a group of people with power that have been stealing the money from student athletes, raking in them billions of dollars. We don't know where the money goes. It's almost like Donald Trump's taxes. Nobody knows where all the money went, Big C. But if the FBI or even the IRS wanted to come down and ask the NCAA, where is all of this money going, since you don't have enough money to pay the young players? I mean, no, it's predominantly black when you watch March Madness. Also, when you look at the top 25 college football programs. But I just want to get your thoughts. The complexion of the NCAA, this body of power, this oligarchy that knows it's an antitrust violation not to pay people, what color are they for the most part, Big C? Your thoughts?
Well, you know, they're white, but and it's an interesting point you just made, Charlton. I hadn't looked at it from that perspective. Why are you investigating the players?
Yeah.
Why aren't you investigating
Yourself.
the NCAA? Why aren't you investigating the people with all the money?
Yeah.
The players don't have the money, but yet you're coming at players trying to sanction them even more.
Yeah.
Trying to charge them with criminal offenses.
Yep.
And what the players did is not criminal.
They're just poor.
To accept a gift in America is not a criminal act.
Nope.
You might need to pay taxes on it.
Yeah.
But it's not a criminal act to accept a gift in America.
Yeah.
And if you're under 18 years of age, Charlton, you don't have to pay taxes. So who knows what the age were of these high school kids when they received these gifts?
Yeah.
So this is the first time in history, I think, that the FBI has ever investigated people receiving gifts.
For being poor.
But they're not, it's like the drug cartel. I mean, this goes back to Nancy Reagan saying, just say no.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
Just say no. Okay, let's tell the kids on the street who don't have any of the boats, who don't have any of the planes, to bring the drugs into America, to just say no. When you have an opportunity, if somebody say, okay, you can go out and make $100 a day if you just peddle this stuff for me.
Yep.
Okay?
Yeah.
And I know you don't have that. You don't have any money. You're in an impoverished situation.
Yeah.
But I'm giving you an opportunity to make a few dollars.
So you can eat.
This is the same thing as being said to these college kids.
Yeah.
We're going to give you a few dollars so you can be comfortable while you're playing, while you're going to school.
Yeah.
The guys who own the buses, who own the planes and the boats, we're not going to bother them, okay?
No.
We're going to come after you guys. And this is the scenario that these kids are looking at now, Charlton.
Yeah.
This is the same as the war on drugs.
Yep.
Let's attack those
the poor people
that have the least.
Yeah.
Okay, and have the most to lose. This is what's going on again in America.
Yeah.
Let's attack those who have the least and the most to lose. Yeah. And so America has gotten rich off of doing that.
Yeah.
You have these kids that didn't have anything when they went to college.
Yep.
And you're taking away whatever opportunity that they may have achieved to have some comfort level.
Yeah.
And the guy who has the billions, who's sitting up there in the mansion, who doesn't worry, who has a housekeeping service that comes in, takes care of his house, probably has a professional chef in the house.
Yeah.
And travels first class, if not on a private jet, everywhere he goes. Let's not bother them.
Yeah.
Because the kids that didn't have any money, okay, there's a problem.
Yeah.
Okay, because they took a few dollars.
Yeah.
The guys who is taking hundreds of millions of dollars, that they're okay.
Yeah. That's a fact that we got to bring up. And I'm Van Gundy for a white man. And again, I'm really shocked when I see our Caucasian brethren speak out, not because it's that blatant, but sometimes they're just too comfortable. It's like the guy that has a wife and a girlfriend. Why should he talk about fidelity? Big C, why do you even want to bring it up? Some people say, okay, when I watch these talk shows when they talk about, like Jerry Speaker.
You're talking about a movie when you said fidelity.
No, I keep reading about Donald Trump paying $130,000 to a prostitute or a woman, whatever she was. She worked in
She's an adult film. Okay. I don't know if she was a star, but adult film entertainer.
Okay, adult film.
Or participant, however you want to
Okay, the difference between her and prostitution, I don't know. They both work for money. Okay, they get one name for one person, and the other name is still people do what they want to do. I don't think there's anything wrong with adults doing what they want to do. That's just my opinion. But when I look at Van Gundy, as a Caucasian man who's an NBA coach, been around a lot of black Americans, and that's the thing that I'm proud of because he's seen. Unlike Donald Trump and Laura Ingraham, he's seen what guys were before they were wealthy. And the thing about young athletes, we tell people, don't think you're going to become a pro athlete. It's very rare. But for the ones that do, they're not the norm. And for Van Gundy, as a white man who's comfortable, to call out the race issue, when a lot of other people say, oh, no, it's not that. It's about money. It's always about race in this country, especially when you're out recruiting these young kids.
Well, Charlton, the guys that say it's not about race, what do they look like?
They Caucasian,
They don't look like those black athletes.
No, they're comfortable.
They don't look like them at all.
Yeah, and see, that's why it's important. You know, I saw this guy, Van Jones, had a show over the weekend. It had Steph Curry in there, and they were talking about some things that athletes can do. And I know we've talked about this for years, but I heard Steph Curry even say what you've been lamenting for the last 2 years, that sports will bring our society together sooner than politics and religion. But sports galvanizes. Going back to the Roman Colosseum, the gladiators. I even heard an owner of the Sacramento Kings, Vivek Ranadive, they were trying to put together a case for Sacramento to get the Olympics. And then over here in the Bay Area, they're talking about Golden State with the new Chase Center to get the Olympics. But here's a gentleman from India saying that sports galvanizes people from all across the world. And I think that's so powerful. That's why it's important for intelligent athletes to speak out about things that can make life better for the next generation. It's not about us. It's about what we do for the next generation. Big C, that make any sense?
Well, Charlton, the next generation is always in the forefront of everyone's thinking. I mean, it's like going down to Florida to this tragedy at the high school and seeing how that next generation is galvanizing America, because you can't tell these kids that they're unimportant anymore because they've been born into this electronic age, so they're so knowledgeable, and that's why we see everything now in real time.
Yeah.
We don't have to wait on a 2 or 3 day old news reel to get the information that's going on. We get it in real time. And so when you sit here and you're telling these kids what they think and what they want is unimportant, and it only concerns adults.
Yeah.
That they're the only ones that are important, and they should get all the benefits of society, and that it's not time for them. You know, just like people have been saying for decades, it's not time for college athletes to get paid.
Yep.
Because we have collusion here.
Yeah.
And so no one knows what we're doing. No one has an accountability of what we're doing. We make the money. We negotiate the deals. And you players should be happy. Just dribble.
Just dribble.
The Laura Ingram mentality.
Shut up and dribble. She said shut up and dribble.
Just shut up and run the football.
Yeah.
You should be happy. Think about the situation that we brought you out of.
Yeah.
You know, we only make you work 20 hours a week beyond going to school.
Yeah.
Okay? That's all we do.
Yeah.
We only demand 20 hours a week of extra work from you going to school. Now, you think about how many people that listen to our show and all other shows across the radio network, as well as all the television shows.
Yeah.
Your boss comes in and demands another 20 hours a week from you without overtime pay.
Yeah.
How comfortable would you be with that? Would you be in agreement with that every week for 3 months?
No.
Well, even longer than that, because you got spring ball and all that going. So let's say 6 months.
Yeah.
That your boss demands an extra 20 hours a week from you.
Yep.
No pay involved, and that you're gladly going to do it. Why? Because you got a job.
Are you
getting your job?
Are you?
And you're supposed to be happy about that.
Are you talking about?
So he comes in and says, "Okay, Charlie, I need another 20 hours this week."
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
You okay with that?
Well,
don't worry about it. Matter of fact, I need you to do, a few hours on weekend.
Well, Big Z,
I'm gonna need at least 4 hours from your Saturday.
Isn't that what Donald Trump told some of his contractors? Big Z, I ain't gonna pay y'all for just finish working. Shut up and work. Is that what he told them? Just shut up and work. I think that's funny. I want to say that sports is a $1 billion industry, and boys and girls sports is the foundation to this $1 billion industry. For every athletic and sporting event, you need athletic and event insurance. We work with Ben and Mark. They've been around half a century. They work with Big C Sports. Whether you're a pro team, a collegiate team, a high school team, or your mom and pop soccer league, when you reach out to them, let them know Big C sent you at 800-772-8624. That's 800-772-8624. Big C, I want to touch on something that I think was great over the weekend for athletes in the world of sports. I love the sports business because I was reminded when people started saying, remember about 2 years ago, I still heard some sports station, the dumb ones that can't Google or can't read, and they think their audience is dumb. They say they're going to read the scores. The Yankees 7, the Red Sox 5, and the Giants 14, and the Jets 7. That's what they thought people wanted. But people are smart enough to want to know the real stuff. Just give me the real stuff. When you go to a doctor, just tell me the truth. Don't make me feel good. Just tell me what I need to get better. That's what sports is. It makes you compete. I got to bring this point up because it's so real. I look at what happened with Tiger Woods in this golf tournament down there, the Honda Classic, and I know that so many people, Big C, and we've talked about this for years, so many people love excellence. We love when the Dolphins can go undefeated. We love when a team can win the World Series. The Patriots almost went undefeated. We love seeing greatness. When Jack was reaching 18 majors, I heard there was Jim Nantz talking to his spouse on television at the golf tournament. No one criticized Jack for winning 18. In fact, they said he was America's paragon of virtue on the golf course. Best golf player in the universe. Here's Tiger coming off of back surgery at 14 majors. We know everything that happened with the wife and the golf club, etc. His wife was never charged with assault for attacking him with a golf club. Keep that in mind and reverse the situation and imagine what the media would have done if he went after his wife breaking out her windshield when she was trying to get away. Just imagine how that would have spun. Here's a man, 14 majors. There's so many people said he'll never win anything else again. After having back surgery, Big C, he doesn't look that bad. he doesn't look that far away from winning another tournament, and he finished in 12th. And I thought he played great golf, but more important, the ratings were up 38% over last year. Big C, Tiger has a big impact in the world of the sports universe. Big C, your thoughts?
Jonathan, he has the impact in the golf universe. You think about it, he's had 4 back surgeries now. And to be able to compete at that level, you think about so many guys that are on the tour that didn't make the cut and weren't ranked as high as Tiger in this tournament, and they have a higher world ranking than Tiger.
Yeah.
But this lets you know that, if he settles down and get rid of some of the jitters, Charlton, that he can be competitive.
Yeah.
And that jitters come with playing more consistently.
Yeah.
And that's the thing that Tiger has to work out is his schedule. He has to make golf, once again, one of the most important things in his life.
Yeah.
And once he does that, then he will be competitive consistently in the top 10.
Yeah.
And that's what the world wants to see, Tiger. If you look at where he's increased in his last 2 tournaments that he's been in, Charlton, he made the cut.
Yeah.
He did make the cut. Now he finishes in 12th, just 2 shots out of the top 10.
Yeah.
And that's what America wants to see. As you said, the most important part, the ratings are up 38%.
The money, yeah. Yeah.
Corporate America is elated. The gallery is elated that Tiger's being competitive.
Yeah.
It makes golf, one of those things you want to see. It's relevant.
Yeah.
And before that, golf wasn't relevant.
Yeah.
And when you look at Tom's, he wins the tournament.
Yeah.
But, he wasn't the story. Tiger was still the biggest story.
Yeah.
He wins the FedEx Cup last year.
Yeah.
But Tiger right now is still the biggest story in golf.
Well, Thomas won
and
one.
Golf, like any other sport, Charlton, whether it's basketball. When you talk about basketball, LeBron's name is always going to come up. It's just there.
Yeah.
It's like saying baseball. You're always going to mention the Yankees.
Yeah.
Because it's that name that's synonymous with it.
They've earned it.
Football.
Yeah.
The Patriots. You're going to say that. You're going to say Tom Brady.
Yeah.
Regardless of who's doing what. You earn that air of respect in that sport to elevate that sport.
Yeah.
Tiger has done that.
Yeah.
He deserves whatever acclaim he gets. There's always naysayers out there. You got people that's going to hate Tiger.
Yeah.
Period.
Yeah.
There's nothing you can do about stupidity in society. I mean, it's part of being American.
Yeah.
Having stupidity in American society, because you always got this guy who always want to buck the system. And I'll throw that to the president.
Yeah.
The president today, having a meeting with all the governors of the United States, he invited them all to the White House.
Yeah.
And I'm astonished how he keeps bashing this one sheriff deputy who resigned, Scott Peterson, okay?
Yeah.
He's had nothing but negativity to say about this man for some 10 days.
Yeah.
Continuously. He's not praised the first responders. He's not praised the officers that have gone in. He's not praised the doctors in the hospitals, Charlton.
No.
He keeps bashing this one officer, Scott Peterson. Now, you tell me, America we have to be realistic with themselves. What's your first reaction when you hear gunfire? Do you run to it or do you run away from it?
I run.
I mean, that's a human instinct.
Yeah.
You've been taught that since you were a child. If you hear this, duck and run. I mean, you do that.
Yeah.
This man has 33 years of faithful service in law enforcement.
Yeah.
We don't know how many incidents that he faced gunfire, Charlton.
We don't know.
We don't know how many times he had to pull his gun on a private citizen.
Yeah.
We don't know his history. That won't even be talked about. But, this one incident is what's going to, be his life legacy in law enforcement.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, people lost their lives. If he had known this was going to happen, going to work that day, I imagine he would have positioned himself inside the school, okay?
Yeah.
He wouldn't have been outside.
Yeah.
But I listened to the president lie today to the American public and all the governors.
Yeah.
Saying that if he had been there, he would have ran inside to confront this gunman, even if he didn't have a gun.
Wow.
Now, the United States government offered the president a gun 5 times 50 years ago.
Yeah.
5 times they offered the president a gun 50 years ago, okay?
Yeah.
And there wasn't anybody shooting at him at the time.
No.
And so he said he would run and charge a live fire action today without a gun.
Yeah.
But yet, 50 years ago, I think he had bone spurs or shin splints
Something
that
like
didn't
that.
allow him to run, but 50 years later now he can run.
Yeah. And the smart people know how to Google it. They can Google that he had 5 deferments. And see, those young kids down at that high school, when they had that town hall, Big C, when they asked Marco Rubio, are you going to still take money from the NRA? And he says, well, I take money from people who support my cause. He didn't give a yes or no answer. He'll never stop taking money. And people can Google if President Trump actually ran from service. He refused to serve this country. He refused to make America great. He refused to put his life on the line for this country that's given him everything. And you can Google that, okay? I would hope that some of the reporters would have at least the Walter Cronkite credibility to just get the facts and ask him why he had deferments, because these people are still mourning, putting their kids to rest. And here he is telling a lie that he would have, charged the gun, and he ran 5 times from defending the United States. I just think I'm glad you brought that point up, and I think a lot of young people, they won't let you lie to them anymore. So you got to Google whatever we tell you, even if it's us, Google everything, and you can tell people it's the truth or not.
Not only that, he backtracked today from raising the minimum age from 18 to 21 to buy a rifle or automatic weapon because the NRA got on him over the weekend.
They wanted the $30 million back, yeah.
The NRA blasting.
Yeah.
And so today he backtracked from raising the minimum age.
So what they say, Big C, did they say, do you want this $30 million or do you want to protect the kids, Big C? Which one, though?
Do you want us to tell them what extra money you got beyond that $30 million?
Yeah, I'm sure he'll reveal his taxes pretty soon. But, that's a fact, too. And again, in the world of sports, and I'm hearing a lot of sportscasters say Google it now, I hope that people will Google because that keeps people honest. We just got to know that. I want to touch on one more thing with this Tiger Woods thing because there was a guy by the name of Jim Rome, and I've liked some of his shows over the years, but I started reading his background. He never played for anybody. I don't think he played anything past high school, and he lost one of his programs down in San Diego. They pulled it because they got tired of his hate speech, Big C. And here's the one that saying he was making fun of Tiger Woods with the second most majors in the history of the universe, Big C. And here's a guy that lost the show down in San Diego. But Tiger, you think about where he came in 12th place, and we have Alex Noren who finished 3rd. We had List who finished 2nd. But I want to bring up some notables behind Tiger. Tiger made just about $150,000. That's not a lot of money in your world, but in my world, Big C, that's a lot of money, Big C. But I look at a guy like Adam Scott, finished 1 over. There's another guy, and Jason Duffner finished 2 over. And then Roy Sabatini finished +3. A real good notable is Sergio Garcia finished +5. Okay? There's also a Jimmy Walker finished +5. And Nick Watney +5. There's a lot of good golfers. Jim Furyk, the great Jim Furyk, he finished +6, Big C. And so when you think of these guys didn't have back surgery the last couple of years.
Ricky Fowler, Charlton.
Yeah.
He didn't make the cut. He won the tournament last year.
Exactly. So we always talk about what can the youth learn. The youth can learn anything. But what you really got to learn is persistence. And Tiger was written off by so many people in the golf universe, Big C. And here he is after surgeries, outranking guys who never had any type of surgery. So I just want to encourage the young people, and Steph Curry talked about it. Sometimes you got to speak for people who don't have a voice. Not everybody has $1 million in the bank. And for young black kids who are oftentimes marginalized, going way back to the Kerner Commission report, it took a lot of black families in parenting to tell kids that you can make it. You can be anything you want to be, even though they're living in Jim Crow. You can be anything you want to be, even though they have colored drinking fountains and white drinking fountains. You can be anything you want to be, even when you make $100 million a year like LeBron James. You have somebody who doesn't even make 1% of what you make saying shut up and dribble because there's an attitude behind it. And I think that for the young kids all over the world, no matter what your color is, you got to keep fighting for what you want. Just because Tiger's wealthy doesn't mean he doesn't have to overcome adversity. And Big C, I think that win and the ratings going higher, more than anything, it tells young people, especially the marginalized ones, that you got to keep trying, you got to keep showing up, you got to keep getting better, and don't listen to people who cannot help you get where you want to be. Big C, that make any sense?
Well, Charlton, that negativity has been skewed so much in American society. Is that you look at the minority culture in America, is that they've always told that they couldn't achieve.
Yep.
Back to the days when they were told that they could not read.
Yep.
That was against the law for them to read.
Yep.
It was against the law for them to vote.
Yep.
It was against the law for them to have decent jobs.
Yep.
It was against the law for them to live in certain neighborhoods. And I'm not just talking about African Americans. I'm talking all American minority society. You go back to the 40s and 50s and see the rash discrimination throughout America.
Yeah.
That, minorities weren't allowed to participate in certain college sports at universities, professional sports, Charlton. So to tell people that they can't achieve, that's been a major part of white society over the years. And this is, people will look at, you guys are racial. No, it's not.
Google it.
Look at what it is. It's like when I hear people say, yeah, I got a couple of black friends.
Yeah.
Will you ever say I got a couple of white friends? Think about that. Why do you have to numerize the number of minority friends you have?
Yeah.
Instead of saying I have friends.
Yeah.
They just can't be friends. They have to be numerologic. And that's not factual. What you're doing is separating them from the other people you know. But they're not included in that other echelon of people that you know.
Well, you think
because you're talking about them individually.
That's a great point, and you bring it up, and I gotta bring it up because I have such a diverse group of people that I listen to, and there are those who just feel they want to take a swing at Tiger, no pun intended, for anything. Yeah, but he can't. He's not good off the fairway. Okay, he came in 12th place. Lee Elder went through more garbage than Tiger Woods went through. Calvin Peete went through more garbage than Tiger Woods. Ted Rhodes went through a lot more garbage than Tiger Woods. Bill Spiller and Hale Werner. There's a lot of people that we don't even know the names of. Not only did they have to overcome competition on the golf course, they have to overcome the social enmity of people not wanting them to succeed. A lot of people only think about Jackie Robinson and the baseball color line. Well, it's not that he wanted to break the color line. He wanted to play baseball. But mainstream society, and we're not saying all white people, but you can Google the structure. It did benefit white Americans. That society did not want him to play baseball until they realized they could get more money coming out of the African American, the Negro leagues. If they start letting a few people of color come in, it would get the ratings and more athletes that could play that would follow. They did that, Big C, for money, not because they wanted to be egalitarian. So when Tiger wins, it's not just he's winning for himself. He's winning for the young black athlete that says, I would like to play golf, but I don't feel like I fit in. I get stared at, you can feel when people don't like you. Kids are very sensitive. You can tell when people make you feel like Laura Ingraham, just shut up and dribble. I think his winning does a lot more for the black diaspora and all people of color, not just on the golf course. Big C, that has to hit home with a lot of people. Your thoughts?
Well, Charlton, you don't have to look any further than the major universities in the country. I'm down here in the SEC country, okay?
Yeah.
You look at the size of the SEC football stadiums, pre-integration.
Yeah. Okay?
Look at the size of those stadiums when those stadiums were 40 and 50,000 people at best, 30,000 at best. Now you look at these stadiums, Charlton, and you have many stadiums that crest above 100,000 since integration. Since they've had African-American athletes, you look at some of these basketball arenas that seat up to 25,000 people.
Yeah.
Where they had basketball arenas that seated 5,000 or 6,000 people.
Yeah.
Pre-integration, Charlton.
Yeah.
And you say that the minority athlete has not been impactful as far as financial dividends and returns to these universities, but they should not receive any of these benefits.
Yeah.
But that's what people are saying. You look at the size of a baseball track. I mean, not a baseball track, Charlton, a track for the track team.
Yeah.
It's still the same size.
Yeah.
Not increasing any more revenue. You look at the size of a tennis court.
Yep.
It's all the same. Even the stands are basically the same. They're not increasing any revenue at the universities. But, when you look at the two major sports that are predominantly minority-driven in college basketball, football and basketball.
Yeah.
And look at the revenue stream that comes from these. We have universities now, Charlton, pocketing north of $125 million prior to even having a kickoff.
Wow.
Before they even kick off that first football, and even before they slap that first slab of ribs on it, that tailgate.
I love the ribs.
Okay? that smoke is flying, I'm telling you. Mine's out there burning it up.
Yep.
So when we look at the revenue that they generate, and you look at the stadiums that they pack, and you're saying, well, they don't deserve anything for doing this.
Yeah.
Go to all those games, Charlton, and let Jim Crow show up. Say, no, these minority players can't play with the white boys.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
They can't play.
And people
the following week, how packed will that stadium be, Charlton?
That's a good point. Well, you just brought that point up. I think ESPN is doing a show on the Wyoming 14. I think it was right around 69. They banned 14 African-American football players from playing the sport. And I think if we're not careful, history repeats itself. That's why I'm so much in just telling people to Google it, because the only way you make our society better is when we tell the truth. And sometimes people have their own angle, but Google doesn't lie as far as I know. I want to bring this up on our final segment, Big C. I want to, number one, congratulate all the athletes that have ever faced any adversity, men and women, no matter what color you are, that you keep pressing forward. But I see something happen again, and I don't want it to happen again because it's already happened 40 and 50 years ago. I look at Blake Bortles getting 3 years, $54 million contract, and that's, if they want to pay him that money, that's their business. But outside of this year, he hasn't had a winning record of anything. But I look at the draft, and I hear a lot of your friends, you keep calling my friend your friends, and again, we wish everyone well, but to say that Josh Allen is a can't-miss quarterback out of Wyoming, never finished the season, and then Lamar Jackson is a guy that's a Heisman Trophy-winning quarterback. There's some people saying, well, he should play defensive back in the NFL. We've heard this 50 years ago. That garbage is over. Big C, just give me your thoughts. I have Allen 56% pass to completion. You have Jackson 59%. Allen had 16 touchdowns, 1,800 yards. Jackson 27 touchdowns, 3,600 yards. One, they're saying they want to make a defensive back. The other, they want to play quarterback. Big C, your thoughts?
Well, Charlton, I guess the only way to show that Allen can compete is that you remove the black kid from the position. That's the only way that he has a chance to say he's better. The gamble that they took last year with Trubisky.
Yeah.
Okay? Out of North Carolina, Chicago Bears trading up. San Francisco 49ers are still laughing at the trade.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
It's like, hey, there's a sucker born every minute.
Yeah.
And so they took this kid. And no one has said that, he isn't the next franchise quarterback in the NFL.
No.
And as you say, always say, you wish everybody well.
Yeah.
But you think about the quarterbacks that were passed over to get Trubisky because he looked a certain way.
Yeah.
Big kid, blue eyes, 6'4" stature, white, had 13 starts in college.
Yeah.
13 starts. Made him the first quarterback taken in the draft. That's the same thing they're saying about Josh Allen.
Yeah.
Here's a kid at Wyoming who could not play a complete system in a mid-level conference.
Yeah.
He couldn't play a complete season.
Mountain
Got
West.
hurt.
Yeah.
Got beat up by people that were smaller than him, knocking him out.
Yeah.
But this 56% completion ratio, and anybody, as you say, can go back and Google this.
Yeah.
Anybody that is past that 56% completion ratio in college football has never been a success in the NFL.
No.
And that's not us. That's the NFL.
Yeah.
If they can't complete 56% passes in college against lesser talent, what's the day they're going to wake up and start throwing 64% completion in the NFL?
Yeah.
Against real grown men.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
That's the thing you have to look at. So your buddy Mel Kiper, who's, I don't know if he's hanging out in California where they got marijuana legal now.
No. I don't know.
In Washington or in Denver. How high? He's doing one of the two.
Yeah.
But the thing is to keep sitting here and harping this kid, and you talked about it. Jackson and Allen, both were juniors declaring early for the draft, okay? They were fourth-year juniors, both of them.
Yeah.
Jackson in 3 years passed for 9,000 yards.
Yeah.
Allen passes for 5,000 yards.
Yeah.
Jackson played in the SEC. Allen played out there in that Prairie Conference where they got the pronghorn antelopes.
Yep.
In Wyoming.
Yeah. In the ACC, Clemson, Georgia Tech, Virginia, North Carolina, they're playing a tougher Florida State.
Well, you think about it, ACC had the national championship 2 years ago.
Yeah.
In Clemson.
Yeah.
They've competed in the last two of the last three national championships.
Yeah.
The ACC has.
Yeah.
And Jackson had to play against those teams every year. So when you think about the level of competition and the number of players that have moved on to the NFL defensively from that conference, the ACC versus the Mountain West, I kind of think that he had, more competition against NFL level talent than what Allen did.
Yeah.
But you think about it. You're declaring for the draft.
Yeah.
And you can only pass for 1,800 yards. And you got Mel Kiper, and I don't know what he hiding in his hair. But
I don't know.
To say you're the best prospect coming out, the quarterback that's really being overlooked, Charlton, in this draft is Randolph out of Oklahoma State.
Yeah.
Who may end up being the best pro of all the quarterbacks. I like Falk out of Washington State.
Yeah.
But I like what Jackson can do.
Yeah.
Because he is so, he will take people back to the Michael Vick early era in the NFL. And I think that's what the NFL wants to avoid because they couldn't defend Michael Vick.
Yeah.
And so now all of these guys that you've built up on these defenses saying these are prototypical, Lamar Jackson takes that away.
Yeah.
He's that neutralizer.
Yeah.
Just like Michael Vick was 15 years ago. He was that neutralizer in the NFL when he showed up. No one knew how to defend him.
Yeah.
Jackson is that phase 2.
Yeah.
It's like Terminator 2, the movie. It was better than Terminator 1. And that's where Jackson is. He's better than Vick.
Yeah.
And the NFL recognizes that, so they said, we can't let him play quarterback.
Yeah, and people need to know that. The movie Black Panther made $476.6 million, and it hasn't even been out for 2 weeks. And there was a lot of people saying, well, we can't get a black actor in Hollywood or actress that's going to really carry the box office. It's going to become the highest grossing movie in the history of the universe. Give it the time to run like all the other movies that maxed out at about $600 million. They're at $476 million, Big C. They haven't even been out 2 weeks. Last thing I want to touch on is I just love when people tell the truth about things and keep it real so that people can Google what we say. That's always important when it comes to sports. That's important when it comes to politics. Everything that's important about what we do in this sports business, Big C, if we don't keep people honest, then they can always tell their own story. And what I'm so proud of, and Van Jones touched on it, but you've been touching on it for 2 years, with the African-American athlete, we tell our own stories, because if we don't tell our own stories, just like the birth of a nation, where they applauded slavery, they applauded lynchings, they applauded all that garbage that led to more lynchings because President Wilson didn't shout it down. We can't let that keep happening, Big C. So don't shut up and stay in your lane, and don't shut up and just play ball. Big C, I appreciate you and your knowledge that you bring to it. I think you really are, your boldness and your knowledge and how erudite you are has really reached out and had a lot more people not be afraid to speak up. If we could just get our white brethren to be honest like Van Gundy, we can solve racism. People aren't born racist. It's a learned behavior. Big C, does that make any sense? Do you have any more hope for the future? Your thoughts?
Well, Charlton, all children are born equal.
Yep.
And as you say, their society where they're brought up will mold them as far as their future goes.
Yeah.
I mean, when you take kids and you put them in a preschool together, all they see is somebody their size.
Yeah, that's it.
They don't know color.
No.
Until they go home and tell somebody at home that somebody didn't look like them, and that's when the racism starts.
Yeah.
But when they show up at that preschool, they're elated around being around people their own size that they don't have to look up in the air at all the time.
Yeah.
And so they become instant friends.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, someone changes that for them.
Yeah.
And so we have so much negativity in our society as adults. When we look at America versus other countries,
yeah,
and yes, America is the greatest place in the world.
Oh, yeah.
But it's also the most deviant place in the world.
Yep.
When we think about how we teach each other to hate each other, to dislike each other,
yeah,
to not accept each other,
yeah,
to not allow others to advance, and that's been how America's been built.
Yeah.
Is that it's been built through separation.
Yeah.
How we've alienated society, how we've alienated people from sports and education, Charlton.
Yeah.
And if we just woke up one day and said, okay, we're going to be honest.
Yeah.
I mean, we just saw the Olympics in South Korea.
Yeah.
Those South Koreans look at each other as equals every day.
Yeah.
That entire country, they look at each other as equals.
Yep.
North Korea is different.
Yeah.
But South Korea, these people look at each other as equals.
Yeah.
And that they look at advancement together as a culture, as a people. We don't look at that.
No.
We look at how we can harm the weakest part of America. That's a daily ledger in America.
Yeah.
Let's go after the disenfranchised. Let's do that. It's like when the show started out. Let's go after the players in college basketball.
The poor kids.
Because they don't have anything.
Yeah.
They can't fight us.
Yep.
We're not going after the coaches who have these high-priced lawyers.
Yep.
We're not going after the universities that have these high-priced lawyers. We're going after the players. We're going after those who have the most to lose and the least to help themselves.
Big C.
It's just like in society when they talk about, let's reduce welfare. Let's reduce Medicaid.
Yeah.
Let's go after the disenfranchised, those who have the least to lose. Let's hurt them more.
Yeah. And I love that. The reason we can all ride the bus and vote and march and protest is because a young lady by the name of Rosa Parks, who wasn't so young at the time, she wasn't wealthy. She wasn't a rich person. She didn't have a lot of political clout. She wasn't born on the right side of the fence with a spoon in her mouth. She was someone who did the right thing, and now we can all benefit from what she did as a bold young black woman back in the South. Big C, back in the day, there was a man by the name of Drew Bundini Brown. He was known as Muhammad Ali's right-hand man. He would always tell Ali, with all you've got to use, how can you lose? Rumble, young men, rumble. Big C, what are you looking forward to in the sports universe?
Charleston, I want to send my congratulations out to the Marjorie Stoneham High School hockey team. Over the weekend, they went out and won the state title, Charleston, after all that devastation that had gone on through their university, through their high school and their community.
Yes.
That these young men rose up to what their coaches, and they lost one of their coaches, Charleston, and athletic directors, in this heinous shooting over the weekend.
Yeah.
But they stood fast as a group and as a community, and it showed how sports can galvanize and bring a community and people together, Charleston. They were not going to be thwarted by the protection that they did not get from the adults.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
They went out and stood and showed, fortitude, character.
Yeah.
And they won this state title, Charleston. They weren't even favored, but they had a mission.
Yeah.
And I want to give my praise and thanks and congratulations to those young men, Charleston,
Stoneman
that
Douglas,
went out and won the state hockey championship.
That's very good, Big C. And they were all diverse, and they were all athletes. I always tell you, every Monday through Friday at 5 and 6 p.m. worldwide. Follow Big C Sports on the Big C Sports Network, on the #1 network in the United States of America. Big C Sports has been voted the #1 sports show in the universe, according to Big C and them good old boys down south. As we always tell you, there's never, ever any excuse for domestic violence. If you know any woman going through that garbage, please call 911, because no woman should ever have to go through that garbage all on her own. And as we always tell you, on every Big C Sports show, we thank you, we appreciate you, and we hope that you have a super fantastic day.